Welcome to Bite Size Podcast. Today we will discuss the recent debate. Does an 11-minute trip to space actually make you an astronaut?
Yeah, that question's definitely doing the rounds again, hasn't it? Especially after that recent Blue Origin flight, the NS-25.
Exactly. And it was quite a high-profile one, wasn't it? An all-female crew. Let's see, Aisha Bowe, Amanda Nguyen, Kerianne Flynn, Gayle King, Katy Perry, and Lauren Sánchez.
Quite the lineup. And launching from Texas, that flight really put the spotlight back on this whole, well, definition issue.
It really did. And I think the sheer diversity of that crew is kind of central to why we're talking about this again. So today, let's try and unpack the different angles on who gets called an astronaut based on, well, what we know.
Okay, sounds good. Because the term astronaut itself, it has a pretty specific history, right? Traditionally, it meant these highly trained people, usually government employees.
Yeah, like military pilots or scientists who went through these incredibly tough selection processes. Not just anyone could sign up.
Absolutely not. It was years of dedication focused on, pushing space exploration forward. They weren't just passengers.
Right. They were operating the vehicles, doing experiments, achieving mission goals. It often took years of prep for a single flight.
Exactly. Think about the people who spent months, literally months, up on the ISS or the Apollo crews. That's the classic image, the traditional astronaut.
That's the benchmark. But now, with commercial space travel really taking off, pardon the pun, those lines are getting, well, blurry.
They really are. Commercial outfits are sending people up, and it forces us to ask,
Okay.
is an 11-minute flight, mostly up and down, really earn the same title?
And the NS-25 crew is such a perfect example of this divergence, isn't it? It wasn't a government mission in the old sense.
It's a fascinating case. You look at who was on board. Aisha Bowe, for instance. She's got a background as a NASA engineer, now runs a tech company. So there's a strong connection there.
Definitely relevant experience. But then you have someone like Amanda Nguyen, a social entrepreneur, civil rights advocate. Important work, but very different.
Very different. Or Kerianne Flynn, involved in biotech investment. Again, not traditionally linked to spaceflight roles.
And then the huge names, Gayle King, the journalist, Katy Perry, the global music star.
Right. And Lauren Sánchez, she's kind of an aviation background, which is, relevant to flight, plus media and philanthropy work.
So it's a real mix. You've got Bowe and Sanchez with some aerospace links, but others were clearly there primarily for the experience as passengers.
Which brings us to the flight itself. These Blue Origin trips, they do go above the Kármán line, that's the 100-kilometer mark, the internationally agreed edge of space. So
Technically, they reach space. Check that box.
But the actual time spent weightless is really short, maybe 3-4 minutes.
3 or 4 minutes. And the big question is that enough? Is that the core experience that defines being an astronaut compared to the months of training and long-duration missions?
It's a tough one. And then there's this other idea, the overview effect.
Ah, yes, I've heard about that. The profound shift in perspective astronauts report seeing Earth from afar.
Exactly. That feeling of seeing Earth as this, fragile little ball in the void. It's supposed to be quite powerful, even life-changing for many professional astronauts.
And the argument could be made, I suppose, that even on a short flight, you might still get a glimpse of that. That it could still trigger something, whether you're flying the ship or just looking out the window.
It's possible. It certainly raises questions about what we value most about this spaceflight experience. And this mission, with people like Perry and King, and it definitely signals a kind of democratization, maybe.
Yeah, access is broadening. It's not just test pilots and scientists anymore. And having celebrities involved, well, it brings massive attention.
Huge attention, which could be great for inspiring people, getting more public interest and support for space, maybe even for science in general. That's the potential upside.
But there's a flip side too, right? Does it risk making space travel seem like just another, exclusive adventure park for the super rich?
That's the concern, yeah. Is it becoming less about exploration for humanity and more about elite tourism? It's a tricky balance.
So it pushes us back to the definition again. Should astronaut purely be about technical skill, mission tasks, or is there room to value the cultural impact, the inspiration factor?
Maybe the definition itself needs to stretch a bit. If someone like Katy Perry goes up and shares that experience with millions, making space feel more real or accessible to them, is that not also a contribution to the overall endeavor?
Like becoming an ambassador for space, even from an 11-minute trip? It's an interesting thought. What do the rule makers say, like the FAA?
Well, the FAA actually made things stricter recently. Back in 2021, they updated the criteria for their commercial space astronaut wings.
Oh, how so?
They now require recipients to have done something essential to public safety or contributed to human spaceflight safety during the flight.
Ah, okay. So just buying a ticket and going up doesn't cut it anymore for the official FAA wings.
Pretty much. Under those rules, most commercial passengers, likely including most of the NS-25 crew, besides maybe those with operational roles if they had any, wouldn't qualify for FAA astronaut wings. So the official definition is leaning towards contribution, not just presence.
That really highlights the disconnect, doesn't it? The popular idea versus the formal regulations. So the NS-25 crew, while having some amazing people, doesn't really fit that classic astronaut mold, nor the current FAA commercial one for most members.
Right. Which leads some to say, maybe we're focusing too much on the label. Perhaps it's better to think about what each person brings back or contributes to their journey.
Whether that's technical data, scientific observation, or maybe cultural impact and inspiration. Aisha Bowe's engineering insight versus Katy Perry reaching a massive audience, different contributions.
Exactly. And maybe as commercial flights become, more routine, we'll need new words. Different terms for different types of space travelers, something beyond just astronaut or passenger.
That makes sense. Acknowledging the different roles and experiences.
It's about recognizing the value in all these different ways of touching space.
So wrapping this up, it seems pretty clear the old definition of astronaut is really being stretched, maybe even broken, by this new era of commercial space access.
Definitely evolving. And maybe the most interesting question isn't if they are astronauts by some definition, but does that label matter as much as the experience itself and the ripple effect these journeys have on the person and on all of us watching?
Yeah, is the title the most important part? Something to think about? See you with another one. Thanks for listening.